Hello YouTube, Bushcraft Woods Devil here. I thought I'd show you a couple of different budget options that you have in the way of a bushcraft knife. Um, some people can't really afford to purchase a high-end bushcraft knife. There's some real beautiful ones out there, and if you can afford them, hey, more power to you. There's the Skookum and LT Wright Knives has some beautiful bushcraft knives, and there's just all kinds. But probably one of the most well-known and cost-effective and budget-priced is the traditional MORA type knife. Now, this is a Bahco. It's made in Sweden, and I'm fairly confident that probably this is MORA making the knife and then stamping Bahco's logo on it. This was a gift from my daughter. It came in a set with a Bahco Laplander and then this copy or companion knife. Again, I'm fairly sure this is the MORA Companion or Companion model. 4-inch blade, and I think about 8.5 inches overall, rubber grip. And these go just the MORA Companion generally goes right around the $20 mark nowadays. They've come up a little bit. A few years ago, they were probably, you could have picked them up between $10 and $15, and I think they've come up a little bit in price. Now, one knife that you've seen me use in a number of my videos is the Wahoo Killer. This is marketed by BUDK, and this is a very economy knife made in China and priced at about, I think currently they're going for $3.98, so about $4. The blade is just slightly shorter than the MORA or Bahco. You can see about 1/4 of an inch. So, but look at that. That's essentially a copy of that. 3 3/4 inch blade here, 4-inch here, 8 inches overall, roughly. And then another one that I've picked up is Walmart. Walmart has this copy in their fishing section of their store, and they're heaped in a big box that says bait knives. And so here we have the Bahco MORA Companion and the Walmart bait knife, and you can see it's a virtual copy once again. And I will tell you right now, both of these come with very poor sharpening. The blades are very wavy. They're just stamped out, and then just the roughest sharpening is put on them. But what I will tell you is that if you will put the effort forth, you can sharpen them very, very nicely. They will shave. I have sharpened both of these. It took a lot of time and effort to put the work into it, but it has paid off. They will carve. They will do work. One selling point about these knives is they feel so wonderful in your hand. The handles are a firm rubber. I don't want to say soft and I don't want to say hard. They're just have a firmness to them. They won't slip, and they give you wonderful control when you're doing woodworking projects with these. Now, I should also tell you that knives of this type are not full tang. The tang is probably only a half a tang, or maybe even just 1/3 of a tang. And in point of fact, I did see a image where a guy dismantled one of these bait knives, and I would say the tang is probably somewhere right in here, just probably about 1/3 of the handle, and just kind of a hooked affair. But if you're not totally abusing them, they will carve wood, they will do camp tasks for you, and probably last very long. As to the sheaths, Um, very similar sheath situation on these. You have a hard plastic sheath, and it has a drop type loop molded into it. On the back, on the Bahco MORA, you have a buttonhole where you can put a button on a piece of leather and string it around your neck, and then you slide it up and it's trapped in a smaller hole here so that it can't be lost. They do a similar thing with these. Each one have a slot. Both the Wahoo Killer and the Walmart bait knife have a slot that a button can be slid into, but you'll please note that it won't trap it. Now, each of them has a weep hole in the bottom. The MORA has a very small, tiny weep hole. One thing I like about the Walmart, it has a very generous weep hole to allow water to pour out if it's trapped. And then again, the Wahoo Killer has a small one. Interestingly, they have different lengths and features. So here on the Bahco, you have one little friction ramp here where you can press with your thumb to loosen the knife and draw it out of the sheath. The Walmart has a friction ramp front and back, so you can wrap a couple fingers around the handle and then press with a couple of fingers and loosen it and remove it from the sheath. You never want to pull these out fast out of any sheath. You may cut yourself, so always loosen the knife, and then when you're assured it's loosened, then draw it out carefully so you don't self-inflict a cut to yourself or someone who's come in too closely and standing near you. The Wahoo Killer has a little friction ramp down here on the front. Of these three sheaths, to be perfectly honest, the one I like the best is the Walmart. It's smaller, and more of the handle is available to me. I'll show you for comparison. So here they are in their respective sheaths. Line them up there. And this one has a smaller, trimmer sheath. The Bahco presents plenty of handle too. The Wahoo Killer, the least amount of handle is presented. My personal preference on these would be, if I could make one suggestion to these, to Bahco or MORA, would be to go with a drop, not this drop loop, but a high riding loop. So I would move this loop myself so that the loop's down here. And then this is riding. If the loop is moved down here, the belt and the knife is then high riding. It can be protected by clothing if I'm wearing a jacket in the field. And also it would present more handle for me to get a hold of and draw the knife. Right now you have this loop kind of in your way, and it would be really nice if it were down here out of the way. That's just my thought, and it may be that they have a rationale for this. Certainly it makes a big difference if you're wearing it around your neck, because as a neck knife under your clothing. And a lot of bushcrafters, Morris Kahansky, I saw several times where he wore these on a neck lanyard around his neck. And probably in the north, in Canada, where you want to keep your stuff protected from the weather, that makes good sense. But each of these has its own pluses and minuses. They're all pretty much copies. What I will say is that I would suggest you buy a very good quality MORA or Bahco knife, and then buy one of these to practice with as an understudy. And then you will conserve your good knife for trail and camp, but you can practice skills with one of these budget knives and learn on them, and you know, you can do all the things that you want to try. If you want to try batoning, great. If you snap it or damage it, no big loss. It's only a $3 or $4 knife. Hear that back there? That's my cat pawing in her water. So these make a great understudy. To my mind, it's like buying a 223 AR and then getting a 22 rimfire upper, or maybe a 22 rimfire copy of your AR and practicing with a 22 rimfire, or a 22 Sig Mosquito as an understudy to your 9mm. It gives you a budget option to learn on and practice manipulation, and then you have conserved your high quality tool for more serious work. So I'm rambling a little bit, but just some thoughts. So these are a wonderful knife. I thought I'd share that with you. I just did some training this past week with a couple of coworkers that wanted to learn how to use a knife for bushcraft carving tasks, and now one of them is just absolutely hooked, and he's teaching his son skills, and I think that's just wonderful. Anytime we can get our youngsters outdoors and pass on the knowledge to them, and pass those skills on, not only will you be giving them valuable skills for later in life, but you're building good memories. They'll look back and they'll remember those times they had with dad or mom doing outdoors activities. So there you have it. Just some thoughts on budget knives for camp or trail, and these aren't bad. These aren't bad. Don't, just because they're less expensive, I'm not going to say cheap, but less expensive doesn't mean they can't work. So thanks for dropping by today, and I hope you can get outdoors and have some fun this weekend. Okay, we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.